straights again, babies! Oh, so good! This is the most underrated motorcycle. Well, check it. Check it. Motorcycling paradise here in Wiseman's Ferry at the Stonehouse Cafe, and I'm here with Mazar on the SP and the Pikes Peak, and this is day 2 of our epic motorcycling journeys. I'm just going to get this Insta on, and we're going to go now and do the Sackville Road and the River Road, and the Hyper is going to be in its element, that is for sure. That is for sure. Give me a second as I navigate this rather treacherous terrain. And hill hold, yes, make sure the mic is in. Nice and tight, good. Okay, and we're on the GoPro too, by the way, because I forgot to bring my cable for the receiver for my other Osmo setup. So I stuffed up. Luckily I had the GoPro in my bag. And I have to say, getting back on the Pikes Peak was a blast this morning. It is just such a great bike. I was on the MR and the KTM all day yesterday, and you can check our video out on the MR versus the KTM from yesterday. And then today we've got the Hyper and the Pikes Peak out, and we're doing a bit of a back-to-back. So we're going to run through the really windy stuff in a second to give the Hyper a chance, and then we'll go on to the big sweepers. Here we are. This is the good stuff, where the Hyper should by rights, it should nail the Pikes Peak through here. Although I don't think it's going to, because, well, it will, because Murray's a way better rider than me, which is the main issue. But it is a much more agile machine. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant getting back on this. Really, oh gee, that was slippery. Wow. The thing about the Pikes Peak, you notice straight away, is how twitchy it is. It's super twitchy, like, I mean, sharp and accurate, but so much so that every single thing you do on it creates a response. And so you've really got to be on, actually, especially through roads like this, because it's a big bike and it's fast, and these are, you know, tight and lumpy. Really capable bike. I absolutely love it. And getting, you know, yesterday I was on 2 of the best bikes on the planet all day, and then getting on this, you do not, it's not, in no way is that a step down. No way. In fact, it's possibly a step up. This screen, oh, he's off. He tried to pull away there, not going to happen. This screen is really terrible. I'm actually going to put it right down. Yeah, so look, obviously comparing the Pikes Peak and the Hyper is not a natural kind of thing to do. We just decided to ride these 2 bikes today. We might as well compare them, why not? Why not? I'm sure there's someone out there who actually wants that comparison. Well, there's probably one person who wants it. Well, that's great. If I meet the needs of one person, then I'm satisfied. Now, look, last night, for those of you who saw our review of the MR and the KTM, you will no doubt have seen me try to drink beer out of a can while wearing a helmet. Bolter. And I'm able to report that my entire inside of this helmet smells like beer, you know, day-old beer. And the windsock that is on the mic in particular smells like beer, so it is actually goddamn awful. Yeah, so my whole helmet smells and tastes like beer. So if I got pulled over and breathalyzed, they'd probably think I was drunk. The things we do on the XODAS channel, those of you who missed that, go and check it out. It was me and Mazar in the spa last night, reviewing those two bikes, and what a review! What a review! Magnificent stuff in the spa, from the spa. Hilarious! Some brilliant insight, which I'm sure you'll agree. Well, check it. Check it. What a day's riding. We have just spent about 6 hours on the SP and on the Pikes Peak. And I've got to say, the whole experience, the whole way through it, Mazar, my helmet has smelt and tasted like beer.
It's not surprising.
Yeah, well, for those of you who saw the episode in the spa, let's just call it an episode in the spa, you'll know why my helmet tasted like beer. But I'll tell you, we've just been up and through the back blocks of the Hawkesbury River all day on these two beasts, and we had a few surprises. What's your overall sort of sense of the day, Muzzer?
It was a fantastic day, I must admit. I mean, the weather was fantastic, roads are glorious, two fantastic machines. Oh, yeah, absolutely wonderful.
I actually gave you the power, the authority to decide whether I keep or sell the SP, right? Because I was sort of umming and ahhing about that, and I've got to say, when we got out this morning and we took the covers off these two bikes, I kind of felt a little like I was letting you down by bringing along the SP after yesterday with the MR and this beast here. I thought that'd be a big step down. Is that how you saw it?
Not at all, not at all. This little bike, I got to ride this first, and I just got used to it after the first, you know, just getting out of town. It's very familiar to me, the style of bike that I'm used to at home. The sitting position and just the way everything's laid out, it's really nice. It had a few extras that I'm not used to, but soon, yeah, made advantage of those.
I must admit, like, when you took off on the SP and I was on the Pikes Peak first thing this morning, I was rapt to be on the Pikes Peak, and I got on it, rode down the road here, and I was just feeling great. And we swapped about 2.5 hours into the ride. We had lunch, and after lunch we swapped, and I jumped on the SP, and within about 2 minutes, the smile on my face on this thing, and by the time I got home, I laughed and I laughed and I laughed on this bike. It was just so good up there in those windy, tight river sort of bank roads. What a bike. And so for the viewers, do I keep it or do I sell it?
You keep it. You don't sell it. You do not sell this bike.
Yeah.
It's just too good for those roads.
Yeah.
You know, you can carve them up. You can ride whatever your style is. You know, I tried 3 different methods of riding, and every one, this thing just lived up to expectations.
Well, we even had it on the motorway. Like, I actually rode this on the motorway, 110 k's an hour on the motorway, and even I didn't get blown away with wind. It was actually really good. It did a great job on the motorway. Yeah. I mean, today that's the surprise. I mean, I thought I'd just be waxing lyrical about the Pikes Peak by the end of the day, but in fact I'm waxing lyrical about this. It was just magnificent today, and I can now categorically inform my channel, my viewers, my subscribers, we are not selling the SP anytime soon. It ain't happening. So for all those of you writing to me saying can I buy it, you can't have it. It's going to be with XODAS a little longer, I think. Now let's just talk a little about the bikes. Just from let's start with the engines actually. Let's just do it a bit differently today in terms of the criterion. What did you think of the engine on the SP?
Well, you've got to remember, it's just shy of a litre. So it's not a small engine. But look at it. It's a compact little unit. You'd think you're riding a 750, you know. But when it was so nice up, down low, it had a lovely delivery. And then when you wanted to give it a bit of peak, you know, all that extra comes back and away you go.
Well, there was an overtaking manoeuvre, I recall, 2 cars along straight, and you were on this. And I was surprised, actually, just how fast this thing was in that situation. It's got plenty, eh? Like, it's got plenty. And what about the engine on the Pikes Peak?
Oh, it's another whole ball game. I mean, you've got loads and loads of power. I did find that there was, when you're going from throttle to sort of, you know, letting it off a wee bit, there was a little bit of...
It's on off, isn't it?
It's on off, but it has a little bit of something going on between it. And as you said to me, you get used to it when you've when you've ridden it for a while. Obviously, it was my first run yesterday, and I did, as the day got on, I did get used to that, and then I sort of put it out of my mind. This thing in third gear is just absolutely awesome. You can just about give it full throttle, and it just hauls. Absolutely wonderful.
And the front wheel just pops up.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. It's a beast. Like, the engine is just this malleable, pliable beast, and you use all of the horsepower. That's what I like about it. You don't waste anything. You can actually go wide open throttle nearly in most scenarios, and you get full return for that investment. And look, let's face it, this Ducati V4 that's been on a number of their bikes for the last nearly a decade, it's a wonderful, wonderful engine. But it's very different in this to in the V4S. It just feels a little more rough and ready and race tuned on this, which of course it is, and that's what you'd expect. What about suspension on the 2 bikes? What did you think of the suspension comparing these 2 on the same road yesterday?
The suspension on the Multi was absolutely amazing. You know, it's a big bike, but it's you could ride 2 up with all your gear on it, and it wouldn't be a problem. You know, it's
got the old full Öhlins, whereas the V4S had the Skyhook suspension.
Wow,
this is a big bike, and I'm riding it through this really narrow, twisty stuff like it's like it's a bloody Tuono or a... I don't think I could ride the Tuono through here that fast, to be honest with you. And I've got a couple of viewers who are asking me for the differences in the 2 systems. And what I would say is that on the V4S, you felt like you were in a fast, comfortable lounge chair. And the suspension did a really good job at making everything feel soft and smooth, right? The suspension on here feels tighter, feels a little stiffer, and way more performance focused. And of course, both those systems are adjustable electronically. But I must admit, for a fast ride, the Öhlins set up for me every day of the week.
I mean, it's a real confident, inspiring bike. The suspension makes you feel very safe in and out of corners. It feels like everything's just working nicely. Great, it's really good. With the Hyper, the suspension's a lot firmer, but for that tight riding and everything else, I mean, after 2.5 hours riding this, I do have back problems. I had no back problems whatsoever. It's a lot more comfortable than it looks, I must say. And it handles so beautifully through all the tight corners. I think the suspension on this works really well for the size of bike it is.
And I was following you yesterday. You were getting great lean angle on this on the road, more probably than any other bike you've ridden. Yeah, I mean, the Hyper just through here, because it's such agile and lightweight compared to this, and so flickable that through here is just where it's absolutely at its best. The problem with it though is when you're out in bigger sweepers or even urban areas, there are so many other bikes that are better. And so look, here it's the king. They call this the Pikes Peak that I'm on. They also call the bike in front of me the River Road, because that's where it absolutely excels. But look, I'm thinking whether I sell it, and I've asked Mazar today. I've given him the power. I've said, you have to make the decision as to what I do. So he's riding it back to back with this, but he rode the other 2 yesterday. So he's going to tell me what he thinks at the end of that. I've got a guy wanting to buy it. He's been texting me all morning, wants to buy the Hyper. And today, actually, the challenge is to make the decision. Keep it or sell it. And Mazar, I've said, you make that call. Your decision. So I've put the power in his hands. So he's going to make the call. And he owns an Aprilia 750 or something. He loves that style of bike. So if anyone's going to say keep it, it's going to be him. And through here, I mean, got to keep so narrow to watch cars coming around these corners, but through here he'll towel me up on that bike. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't compete with that through those really tight corners. I could, but I'd take too much risk. I don't want to. So, but then we get into the straights or outer corners, and I'll gobble him up because this thing's good so much. But it's just a one-trick pony, and look, it's a very good trick. Don't get me wrong, very, very good trick. And if I lived on this road, I'd probably keep it because it's the river road. It's the Ducati Hypermotard River Road. Hello, Bowo. Woof, woof, he's barking like a maniac. Woof. Chase me, chase me, chase me, chase me, chase me, chase me. Get off my road, get off my road. Yeah, I've been looking forward to getting the Pikes Peak on this road, just to see how it handles the really tight stuff, and very pleased to say it's doing a competent job without doing an excellent job. It's doing a competent job. For me, that was the standout feature of this bike yesterday, was its suspension and the way it would soak up bumps yet be nice and firm in the corners when you were really giving it a bit of oomph. What about the braking? Start with this bad boy, because the V4S, which you didn't ride, but I spent a bit of time on, had crap brakes for a big bike. This is a big bike, it's fast, brakes have to be good. What's your view on the brakes?
Brakes are wonderful. There was a couple of times, I mean, when I first got on it, I just got off and I didn't actually have to brake very much because the engine braking is wonderful on this thing.
Right, isn't it?
And so when I did have to brake, I did a couple of little test brakes earlier on. I thought, oh yes, this is going to work. And then later on, I think we made a last minute decision to pull in somewhere, and I had a choice of riding on, turning around and coming back, or stopping.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Going around the Stone Point Cafe.
Yeah, yep. We decided to stop, and it was sort of an instant decision. But anyway, woof, absolutely perfect. Just pulled up. Nothing was unstable about it. It was it was a gem under brakes. Yeah, I mean, it was a big criticism I had of the V4S, but they've really sorted it out on the Pikes Peak. Brakes are awesome. And what about the Hyper? Yeah, Hyper's good too. Like, it's a lighter bike, and so when you're braking on this thing, you're slowing down quite a bit of weight. Yeah. On this thing, it's snappy on the brakes. It's good. It's there's nothing I can complain about it. Yep. Absolutely, did the job perfectly. This bike through there, just watching you, was so smooth, just carving, just boom, boom, boom. This was a handful. Yeah, it would have been. This was a handful. It was just the weight. You feel the weight in that. That's what it's built for. Yeah. I mean, I did pretty well to even keep near you then, but you were effortless in those corners. Yeah. I mean, elite level bikes with elite level braking systems. And what about the electronics? Did you feel them intervening at any stage yesterday on either of these bikes? Not on the Hyper, but on the Multis, I see just have to change the gear, I think. I'm not quite sure. Well, the throttle's a bit on-off, but I found the wheelie control did a great job of this, because this thing does want to get that front wheel up. Does a great job of just sort of holding it there, and you don't feel this huge sort of reduction in power as it does it. So it's quite a seamless package. The SP, I didn't really notice electronic intervention at all, but I've got that wheelie control on 1, okay? And what I find with that is one incremental change to the wheelie control on the Hyper makes a very, very big difference to the bike. So I had it on its maximum setting, I've been dialing it back, and it's on 1. It does these neat little wheelies out of corners, but they're not very high, and I like that. And if you turn wheelie control off on that thing, it's going to be up like this all day long. But both bikes have, modern Ducati electronics package, and the intervention is there, but you don't really feel it, and that's what you want. In terms of fuel economy, we did the same test on these bikes yesterday that we did the day before with the KTM, the Beamer. She's a thirsty girl, this one. 16 litres I put in it when I put 12 into that, so this consumed 4 more litres in about 100 k's of pretty good riding. So she's a thirsty girl, but obviously got plenty of range, big tank.
range on this is about 200 kilometers. On this it's about 300, which is great. But she's a thirsty girl. Price wise, actually they're both very expensive. This is an expensive bike. The biggest criticism I've got actually about the Hyper is it's expensive. It's well into the 30,000s. Like I paid 31.5 I think for this. Now this is a more expensive bike, but it's a lot more bike. Okay, it's obviously a luxury touring sports focused bike. But that is an expensive Supermotard. But is it worth it, Muzza? Like,
oh, look at it. Look at it. It's absolutely beautiful. I think it's out of their fleet. I love the look of this bike. Really
Yeah.
do. It's probably more my style.
Yeah, sure.
Suits my personality more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of cash.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the only way you can make that call is get on it and have a ride. I'll tell you what, I'd think serious about paying some cash like that for a bike like this.
To buy that bike, yeah. Well, guess what? We've swapped bikes and I'm on the Hyper. And it's hyperbolic. It is such a different sensation. It feels like a small little dirt bike compared to being on the Pikes Peak, but alive. It feels alive, and wow, it's just in its element. It loves the style of riding. These sorts of roads, it just loves it. Oh, that mid-range is brilliant. It certainly doesn't feel soft compared to the other bikes we've been riding. I thought I was going to get on and be a bit ho-hum. Far from it. Mainly because of the environment. Loves this environment. Oh, it's just super fun, this. It's, you know, if I lived out here and had a house with a front street that looked like this, I'd have this for sure. This would be my number one bike. In the city, urban environment, it loses out to the others, and certainly in faster flowing sweeper kind of riding it does too, but far out for this stuff, it's the king. It's the king. You know, it's me and Mazar are talking about whether I should sell this, and I've given him the power. I think I might have to take that power off him, because just based on this 5 minutes, why would I sell it? I should keep it, and then one day if I do have a house out in a place like this, I can have this in the barn ready to go. What about the gearboxes on these bikes, Mazza? The shifting. They both got quick shifters. How'd you find them? Good.
Yeah. I didn't even think about this having a quick shifter when I first got on it.
Right. So you didn't know it had one.
Yeah.
It was a bit clunky early on, was it?
Well, it was when it first started. As it warmed up, the whole bike, in fact, as it warmed up and you got that all up the temperature, it just started singing. It was a little bit lumpy at the beginning, you know. It just reminded me of Ducatis of old, you know. But then it just sort of like warmed up, and then the shifter went better. Everything went better.
When I rode it in the afternoon, the shifter was glorious. Yeah, absolutely glorious. What about the Pikes Peak?
Yeah, that's pretty seamless.
Yeah. This goes better when you've got a few more revs.
Yeah.
I find it a bit clunky down low with the quick shifter.
Oh yeah. In fact, down low, because I'm old school, I just naturally grab the clutch. It's just something I do, you know.
Yeah. I find myself grabbing the clutch more on this actually. And I don't think I use the clutch at all on this. The quick shift on this was
and the clutches on both bikes are nice and light, they're not too heavy.
Yeah. Awesome. And just quick comments on seating position, ergonomics of the bikes.
Yeah, as I say, this is a bit more what I'm used to, and I didn't have any problem. Sometimes if you want to sort of just get into a slightly more sports, sometimes you feel that you're going to get bum.
I felt that digging into my bum actually.
Yeah. So sometimes I like to slide back a little bit and get on with it, and I just find that strap there. If you're going to do track days or anything like that, I'd probably take that off.
Take that off, yeah. And what about the Pikes Peak?
Oh, that's like you can see it's a saddle. You sit in there, and because I remember one time trying to catch up to you, and I went a little bit over 100 plus k's, and that was just nice. It just pushed you up against the back, and you hang on, and it eats up those quick Ks very, very quickly.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's low. It's
So,
low compared to that. That's a very high, tall bike, the Hyper, but this is low.
Yeah. I noticed when you're riding this, both your feet are on the ground. You're 6'4".
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot, just over 6 foot. I'm just a little. My heels are off the ground slightly.
Yeah, okay.
But that's fine for me. I'm used to that.
One thing we didn't cover before was just the sort of the TFT information and the controls and layout. Your thoughts on both these bikes?
Yeah, both good. Excellent. I mean, this is a good position. I could see it without having to drop my head down quite nicely. And the same with the moulding. Yeah, it's all there up in your face. It's great. Yeah, both good. Because I was concentrating on riding, I didn't have much time to play with any of the bits and pieces and that. But yeah, I didn't have a problem at all.
On the Pikes Peak, you've got the super duper TFT screen, and you've got all of the controllability and optionality that Ducati offer. It's a flagship product. This one here is actually a dialed down version, smaller screen, less information. I've got to tell you, I prefer this. I prefer this. If you're riding fast and you're doing day trips, you just want necessary information available to you in the most compact form and easy to access. And the button, the switch gear, very basic. And I like that. I like simplicity when it comes to the way you interact with the bike's brain. Over here we've got a nuclear power station of a control setting. This thing's got everything, but it actually is more complex to navigate. I think that Ducati system's just getting a little tired. I think we've got to find a way to simplify it, the way BMW have done, the way KTM have done. I think BMW and KTM are ahead of Ducati now when it comes to the TFT and the switching and their menu systems. I really do. What about the sound of these bikes, Mazar? Like, this has got the full Acura system on it, so it's not a fair comparison. But this has got more meat, hasn't it, than it comes through on these video cameras?
Yeah. So these are the standard pipes that come with the bike, aren't they?
They're the standard pipes.
Yeah. You wouldn't need to change them. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I did. I put the S1s on. I hated it.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
These they sound great when I'm following you. Sound good when you're riding it. It's just got a nice, crisp burble, and it's not offensive in any way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just nice to hear as you're talking out of those corners. Yeah, really good. This thing here, it's got an awesome sound too. And every now and then you'll get a little bark as you're cutting down.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting on it, I noticed at the lights and things like that, and you put the clutch in, it sort of quietens down. And as you let the clutch out, you can hear. I'm looking around for another bike.
Yeah, it's deactivating 2 cylinders, I think, and then they come back on again.
They come back on again. Yeah.
Clutch out. Yeah,
quite neat.
I found this bike's really loud when you're on the bike. It sounds great, but when you're off the bike, it's not annoying people. So how do they make you feel, Mazar? Like, tell me about each bike in turn. How do you feel when you're on the SP?
When I'm on the SP, I feel as though I am home in my happy place. As I say, it's probably the bike that suits me and my personality, you know. And I mean, I found that my helmet, the sides of my helmet were getting too tight because I was just grinning so much. You know?
Yeah. I was laughing out loud for about 15 minutes non-stop.
Yeah.
Okay, just slow down for a minute. What a fun bike. There's no way I'm selling this bike. No way. It's a keeper. Absolutely so good. Love it, love it, love it. Boom, 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 get back into my room, babies. Exodus strikes again, babies. Oh, so good. Oh, wow. This is the most underrated motorcycle. It is just unreal, man. I thought I was going to get off the Pike Peak and miss it, and I don't. This is brilliant. Brilliant. Oh. It doesn't do any single thing better than any of the bikes in my portfolio. You pick anything, say quick shift, there'll be something in my portfolio that's better. But the sum of the parts creates just the most fun package. The most fun package. Oh God, it's good. God, it's good. It's a keeper. Good overtaking power.
Yeah, it's a real miles for miles bike, you know.
And what about the Pikes Peak?
It's comfortable and it's well positioned. It's nice and it's everything you expect from a big bike like that, you know. And I had absolutely no problem having that in my garage. But at the end of the day, I'd be taking that one home.
Would you really?
Yeah.
You take the SP home over this?
I would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, but in saying that, I'm not going to be able to get your mate's girlfriend on the back of here, and all her slingback shoes and things, and go on a holiday. You know, where on here you can. You know?
It's a compromise in terms of the size of the thing and the weight of the thing.
But it made me feel pretty good, I must admit. You know, I love on both bikes. I love the heated grips and the heated seats.
Yeah.
And the whole.
Well, that wasn't a heated seat on the SP, it was just the exhaust.
Oh, is it? Just oh, well, there we go.
Yeah. The exhaust is warm, isn't it?
Yeah. And this one here's got the hall lock. Is that what we called it?
The hill hold. We got a hill hold over here.
Yeah, that's great. And especially on a bigger bike, sitting at with the lights on a bit of an angle, it's great having that on. It's a real feature.
I mean, for me, the SP makes you feel like a hooligan. It makes you feel fast. On real motorcycle roads, I'm faster on that than probably anything here.
Yeah.
This though makes you feel like a global dominator.
Yeah, it does.
When you're on this, you feel like if there's a nuclear holocaust, if there's something goes wrong, I'm jumping on this and no one's going to stop me. It feels like a fast tank, and just there's something primal about this machine. But the surprise of the day was the Hyper. I mean, honestly, when I think about the fun we had over the last couple of days, I reckon I had more fun on the Hyper than probably anything here. It was just, it's really confused me actually. Well, I've got clarity. We're not selling it, but where does it fit in the pecking order across these four bikes?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's going to be a conversation for another day. But for now, I hope you enjoyed a rather unusual comparison. I mean, you wouldn't normally think to compare the Hyper and the Pikes Peak, but we did, and we did because we could. And they're not competing for the same buyer, obviously, but it's nice to have back-to-back riding opportunities just to compare and contrast these bikes. And I'm sure there's one person out there in the YouTube universe who wants to see this comparison, and I made this video, we made this video for you. For now though, it's see you later.
Yeah. See you later.